I'm Corey Neumeier.
I'm Harrison Simeon.
And welcome back to another ScoBuff Sports Live show. And check it out, we're back in the old digs. I got a desk.
Yeah, back in our own stomping grounds. Last week we were standing, now we're sitting. Who knows, next week we could be in a hot air balloon.
The world may never know.
We begin with heartbreak, though, as the CU women's hoops team overcame a sluggish start against number 22 Utah Friday night, trailing by as much as 18, yet battled back to take the lead with 19 seconds left. Ute forward Dazia Young then Euro step past junior buff center Aaronette Fonley for a buzzer-beating layup and a Utah win on the game's final play. The 77-76 loss puts the Buffs at 20-5 on the regular season.
The weekly AP Top 25 released a fresh ranking on Monday. For the first time since the preseason, the Buffs are not in the top 10. Following a rough road trip that included not only the loss to Utah, but to Oregon State too, the Buffs now sit at number 11. They look to improve their position this weekend with an 8 p.m. matchup versus the USC Trojans in LA on Friday.
Last Saturday, the men's basketball team took to the road for a matchup against the USC Trojans. Colorado started cold this month, losing 4 of their previous 5 games, including an earlier L in LA to UCLA late last week. But the Buffs came through in the clutch just a few nights later, as KJ Simpson was the catalyst for the double overtime win. The Garden had an electric 30 points with 24 after halftime. Tristan Da Silva added 18 for her Buffs dub, 92-89.
The USC win was important for the Buffs, who are on the outside looking in for March Madness. Colorado is still alive for the dance, but need to finish strong and get some help. Maybe more importantly, Tad Boyle may have found a lineup with Luke O'Brien playing in overtime over Eddie Lampkin. Could the emotional rare CU road win hinge on the season? We'll see when the Black and Gold return to Boulder for a battle with the Utah Utes on Saturday.
Colorado basketball mutually parted ways with 4-star forward recruit Dorian Onwuchekwa on Friday, as the Skidding Buffs have completely released him from his letter of intent. Head coach Tad Boyle made it clear that the decision was mutual and wished him the very best. The rest of the recruiting class remains intact as the regular season draws to a close.
That brings us to this week's trivia question. With the NBA All-Star Game taking place last Sunday and Colorado alum Derek White making a strong case to be selected with the Boston Celtics, we're asking you who was the last Buff to be selected as an NBA All-Star. The answer will be revealed later on in the show.
Who wants to do basketball? Who wants to do football? Who wants to do soccer? Who wants to do volleyball?
That's so sick. Did Christian just say that?
Videography. Anyone want to do that?
Released their second edition of the weekly rankings for the 2024 NCAA women's lacrosse season, and this week it features the Buffs. The previously unranked Buffs featured at the number 19 spot. The team is undefeated through 3 games, starting with a bang in their home opener versus Louisville. Then CU went on the road against Penn State and St. Joseph's to steal a spot in the rankings. All 3 of the Buffs' victories have been by 1 goal so far. Tomorrow, the Buffs host the Northwestern Wildcats, who are ranked 3rd in the polls.
The Buffs women's tennis team started off the weekend at Ball State with a dominant 4-0 win. This marks the second all-time win versus Ball State. Both matchups have been hosted in a neutral court. The very next day, the Buffaloes faced Indiana and won that matchup convincingly, 4-2. The Buffs are now 1-1 all-time against the Hoosiers.
The Buffs women's tennis team is off to a blazing 9-1 start. This is the best start for the team since the 1997 season. Coach Pham had high praise for his team, stating that he is proud of the growth that our team continues to display day to day and match to match. He also added that there are plenty of opportunities ahead of us, and we look forward to doing the work necessary to ensure we are fully prepared to capitalize on them.
Baseball season is just about underway for Colorado, and they'll start the spring campaign on the road in sunny San Diego as soon as the 24th this month. That's it for being on the road for a while, as they'll play the next 4 series here in Boulder at Scott Carpenter Field all March. The Buffs came off a good fall ball season, and they'll look to keep up their hot streak in the spring. Be sure to follow the schedule on their socials, and if you can't catch the home games, be sure to check out our streams right here on the ScoBuff Sports YouTube channel.
Jumping into track, Avery McMullen notched her name into the school record books for the second time on Friday. McMullen secured the long jump, soaring a record 6 feet and 2.5 inches. This was McMullen's second school record, her first being a 60-meter hurdle, where she broke Olympian Hannah Cooper's record. That brings us to this week's Buff Banner, where Jake Shapiro went over another 2-sport athlete, Dylan Edwards.
Right now, because of their The Buffs are on a national stage right now because of their multi-sport star athlete turned coach, Deion Sanders. However, the Buffs have a long history with successful multi-sport athletes, and there's even one on campus right now. You may know Dylan Edwards as CU football's running back, but he competed in his first track meet earlier this month. He ran the 60-yard dash and ended with a final time of 6.92 seconds. Edwards was a standout early on in the football season and is notably very quick on his feet. Shocker, right? He is training right now with both the track team and the football team during the spring semester. But Edwards is far from a pioneer in multi-sport athletes at the University of Colorado. Another one that's part of football lore, and especially here on campus, is Jeremy Bloom, a two-sport star who was a wide receiver for the Colorado Buffaloes before the NCAA told him to get out. That's because Bloom, a two-time Olympian in freestyle skiing, made money off his name and likeness from his time on the slopes. At the time, that wasn't allowed by the NCAA. He was later drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 5th round of the 2006 NFL Draft, and he's the only Olympic skier to get drafted into the NFL. Another notable multi-sport athlete to rep the Buffs was Byron Whizzer White. White was an All-American running back and Heisman Trophy runner-up during his playing days. While at CU, he also played baseball and helped the basketball team make the NIT Finals, a real big deal at the time. In 1938, he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates of the NFL and led the league in rushing yards his rookie season. White would then go on to attend Yale, play for the Detroit Lions, and serve as an officer in World War II. After athletics, White became the first Coloradan to serve as a Supreme Court justice. It's pretty impressive. And there's another whose voice you may know. Dave Logan, who now calls Broncos games on KOA, is another standout Buff. He is only the second person to be drafted by the NFL, NBA, and MLB in the same year. During his time at CU, he won the Big 8 Conference Athlete of the Year twice. Logan would take his athletic talent to the Cleveland Browns for 7 seasons. He later came home to Colorado and he played for the Broncos in his final year. Edwards will seemingly join the long list of talented multi-sport athletes to compete for CU. Hopefully he can have just as much success on the gridiron as his predecessors.
Thank you. We tried. The D1 men's hockey team hosted the Rams late on Friday, coming off their dominant win in Fort Collins against Colorado State. The job wasn't finished, however, as they need to complete the sweep against the Rams to get an inside chance at a bid to the Nationals. The Buffs came out hot, taking a commanding 4-0 lead in the first 15 minutes of the game. CSU, determined to play spoiler, rallied before the end of the first, scoring 2 goals of their own to keep Colorado on notice. Heading into intermission. By the halfway point of the second, the game was tied at 4 and would be tied at 5 to the final minute of the game. That's where Colorado State's Noah Decker caught a rebound and buried it for the Rams, effectively ending the Buffs' shot at Nationals.
The Black and Gold still have more hockey to play after bids go out, as they'll be hosting the Oregon Ducks Friday and Saturday night for senior night, honoring a number of skaters that supported the team throughout the season. Finally, to end their regular season, the team will travel to Vegas on March 1st and 2nd to take on the UNLV Rebels.
Next up, the women's hockey team would host the Rams for the Rocky Mountain Face-Off. Game 1 on Saturday was pretty even, with the Buffs going down 2-0 early off an own goal and a perfectly placed one-timer. Both teams played disciplined hockey, having just 4 combined penalty minutes all game. CU couldn't catch up, though, and would drop the first game 3-2. Colorado figured it out on senior day, though, with all 3 honored seniors making huge plays to give the Buffs a 2-1 win at the Rec, along with much-needed confidence heading into the playoffs.
Hello, welcome to Rapid Fire. Hello, welcome to Rapid Fire. I'm your host, Brittany Garcia. Starting off with the ski team, we'll be competing in Big Sky, Montana on Friday and Saturday, and then we'll be in Bozeman on Saturday and Sunday. Both of these events will be all day. And then the women's basketball team will be traveling to Los Angeles, California to face the USC Trojans. That game will be on Friday at 8 p.m. The men's hockey team will be here at home Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. to face the University of Oregon. And Saturday will be the team's senior night, so please make sure to come out to support our seniors on the team. Then the men's basketball team will be here at the CU Event Center Saturday night at 7 p.m. facing the Utah Utes, so make sure to fill up those stands to help support our men's basketball team. Well, that's it for this week's Rapid Fire. Once again, I'm Brittany Garcia. Back to you guys at the desk. Go Buffs.
Thanks, Brittany. Now it's time to answer this week's trivia question. In case you forgot, we asked you who was the last Colorado player to be selected to the NBA All-Star Game. Drum roll, please. The answer is Chauncey Billups. The point guard is one of only 2 Buffs to ever earn All-Star honors, appearing in his 5th and final 2010 with the Denver Nuggets. Back when 151 points was enough to win the game rather than lose it by 70.
Now for our tweet of the week, we go to Indianapolis, where the NBA All-Star Game, where LeBron James paid tribute to Deion Sanders. James rocked LeBron 21 and Air DT Max in black and gold. His kicks are reminiscent of Coach Prime's Air DT Max 96s, a shoe made popular from Sanders' incredible career on the playing field. Always a great time when the Buffs are represented by a GOAT. And we hear that CU's jerseys this coming fall are inspired by those same sneakers.
Thank you for tuning in to another SCO Buffs live show. I've been Corey Neumeier.
I've been Harrison Simeon.
And we'll see you next week. Or not. We might not see you next week. An asteroid could obliterate us between now and then, but we can only hope for the best. Good night,
brutal.
stay safe, and you heard it here first.